Saw is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Yes, the entire franchise does have its ups and downs, but that first movie just worked so well. So I figured, hey, it's October, let's rank the franchise. Now, it is quite clear that this is the point in the franchise where they had absolutely no idea what to do. They were just making movies because they made a lot of money for how low budgeted they actually were. But they're out of ideas, and most of the movie just feels like these characters are walking around just doing stuff for the sake of runtime, because nothing in this movie really connects. The trap storyline and the character storyline aren't even connected. And the traps normally save the movie. This time, it's just this forgettable thing that's just there. Yes, the test in it is interesting, I can admit that, but characters in it, don't care about. Traps in it, not interesting. Just everything, and the trap related didn't really work. And then when we get to the main character storyline, I was never invested in this part of the Saw franchise with this version of Jigsaw. Never interested me, so all of that stuff, nope, not interesting me at all. The traps just feel forced into the story that's just not interesting at all, so the traps come off as uninteresting as well. And the twist, some movies are known for the twist, but the twist in here, is that even a twist? Was the movie really building up to that? No, it wasn't. Like I said, this movie just ran out of ideas, I had no idea what to do. This film just lost everything that this franchise was actually known for. Traps were uninteresting, story was uninteresting, but at this point in the franchise, everything was lost and they ran out of ideas. Saw 6 did pick it up a bit, but this film, nope, they ran out of ideas. Nothing's really interesting in here.
Game over.
Now, this is the definition of filler in the Saw franchise, because everything in this movie is really just trap happening. That is the entire movie, with this 3D effects that stick out at the camera. Because this entire movie, the main storyline that's you actually go to this franchise for is 15 minutes of the movie. You could watch that in a YouTube clip. Everything in this movie that happens is just to play into the 3D effect. And all the traps in here are just in here because it's a Saw film, you need the traps in there. Because the entire movie just wastes this entire runtime just for that final act. I do love the twist though. People can complain about the twist all they want, but I love the twist. That is the only standout in this entire movie. I just love the twist so much. No matter how predictable it was at the beginning, no matter what happened, that twist always worked for me, and I do think it is a nice way to end the Saw franchise, until 8, 9, 10 come out. But it's called the final chapter, it ends the story, that twist ended it perfectly. But the rest of the movie is filler. Easy filler. Now, the movie itself is enjoyable because it's nothing but traps. There is no storyline whatsoever, and the characters are absolutely stupid, but the entire movie is traps. And if you go into the Saw movies for the traps, you get that this entire film. So, depending on the day, I find this movie enjoyable or not, but at the end of the day, it's a movie they just put out there to try to end the Saw franchise, but completely just messed it up because this movie is filler, but it's filler that does have enjoyable moments here and there. When I did first watch this movie, I liked it. I can admit that. Rewatching it, not as much as the same impact, but the twist is great.
Hello, Detective Banks.
Now let's admit, did you forget this movie even existed in the first place? Because Saw 9 is very, very forgettable. Because it's just so standalone and doesn't connect to any other Saw film that I don't even know where this lands on the actual timeline of Saw movies, because it just feels so disconnected. It feels like they tried to reboot the franchise, which I'm sure that's what they were trying to do, but they did it in an awful way because Jigsaw sucks, character sucks. This movie's just fine. It does nothing that's bad like Saw 5 did, and I did admit I did enjoy Saw 7, but there's no story in there. This one, there's a story, it's fine, but the traps are very much sidelined and the story is the main focus, which is not a bad thing. Traps are great for the ones that we do get in this movie, but the entire movie, no, I did not find interesting at all. Now, the entire movie It's just forgettable. There's nothing in here that truly stands out because it's just a very forgettable film. Especially when looking at the entire Saw franchise, these movies take a lot of risks sometimes, but this one is very much playing it safe. This is the safest installment you could do in Saw, and is why it's so forgettable in the first place. Is the movie itself that bad? No, it's just very forgettable. It just simply wasn't my thing. The detective story worked, the traps worked, but overall, it's just forgettable and generic. We've seen all this done before, but way better. If you're trying to reboot the franchise, you could have done that a lot better than this. Now here are the Saw movies that I actually do like. I do like a good majority of this franchise. A lot of people don't. I do. Saw 4 for me, it just works overall. Yes, it is a huge dip in quality from the first 3 movies. Yes, first 3 movies. It does still work here and there. It is a very messy film. There are a lot of plot holes introduced in this one film alone. And in fact, they keep finding a way to always tie it back to Jigsaw. Even the rest of the franchise, Jigsaw died in the 3rd film. But the 4th one takes place during the 3rd film. They always find a way to bring it back to Jigsaw, and it's just so annoying to me that they always do that. I do like how this movie gave the origin story to Jigsaw and how he created traps, his first trap. I did like all of that. Speaking of traps, the ones in this movie worked for me. Now, I don't like the whole testing the detective bit because the first movie introduced that Jigsaw only tests the people who actually deserve to be tested, who did bad stuff in their life and deserved a second chance after they learned a lesson. The detective, what did he do? And the twist just truly exists. They needed this to be like a fresh start in the Saw franchise because they killed off Jigsaw, but I don't know what they were doing with that twist. It was just introduce this new Jigsaw out there. Let's just throw it at the wall, see what works. We need a script out there. And he ended up being on screen more than Jigsaw actually was. Gore and traps are great. I do enjoy a good majority of this movie, but script-wise, it is very messy, but still enjoyable. Now, a lot of people love this film and say it's one of the best ones of the franchise. I even saw someone that said it was better than the first film, but I can see the vision traps-wise, but story-wise, no, because it's just continuing off of 4 and 5. So, I was never interested in that side of the story, that Jigsaw. So when you bring that story into the 6th one, of course, yet again, I will not be interested because I do not like this version of Jigsaw. He's fine, but very forgettable. Traps-wise, we do get into the problem of what did these people do? They did nothing wrong, but the main twist for the traps is what I love most about it. Because we're following this family who we think is this guy's kids and stuff, but it's not. I just love that twist. I love the brilliance behind it. And which is why the whole trap segment works for me because of the twist of this film. It brought back the twist that works so well about the Saw franchise. But besides for that, the main story is just fine. This detective story, you don't go into these Saw movies for the story, you go in for the traps, but if we look at the earlier installments of the franchise, the story was good along with the traps. Like I mentioned, they always find a way to tie it back to John Kramer, which gets very annoying, especially in this movie, where we always go back to John Kramer's death. Amanda is now tied to the death, is tied to the entire trap bit and testing bit in that section. We always find a way to always bring it back to that section, and it's always so annoying. Story's fine overall, movie's fine overall, but a lot of people do love it. I'm not there. I do like to travel. But real quick, if you want to help me reach my goal of 1K by the end of the year, consider subscribing. Let's continue. Now, for some reason, this movie has a lot of negative reviews and is considered one of the worst ones of the franchise. Why? How? I never see that because I actually think this movie is brilliant in some of the ways it tells the story. Now, yes, the trap side of the story is way better than the actual detective stuff, but both are good. I love the twist that this stuff is happening in the past and this stuff is happening in the present. I love the way the movie always tingles with your mind of, is Jigsaw alive, is he not? Because this movie kind of revived the Saw franchise, so of course, watching it in theaters back then, you didn't know what to expect. So I just love how this movie always just messes with your mind the entire time. Now, although it introduced many plot holes story-wise, I still do think this movie had so much to offer that worked. I loved how these two different stories ended up merging together by the end, and I just always find the movie brilliant on how it told its story. Trap-wise, yes, it is extremely better, but detective side, it still did work for me too. This is one of those fun Saw movies where you don't really go into it expecting a good story, but more of just a fun time overall, and that's what Jigsaw delivered for me. I don't understand the negative reviews for it because it was just a fun time for me, and I want other people to see that fun factor, but hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Now we actually get to the 4 Saw movies. These 4 are the Saw movies of the franchise. They are the greatest of the franchise. This franchise is great because of these 4 films, and my least favorite of those 4 films is Saw 2. It's not bad at all. It's a great film. James Wan was still a part of the Saw franchise at the time. This movie takes everything great about the first movie, but expands it into a sequel. Bigger stakes, bigger storytelling, bigger world building. We're only expanding on the story of Jigsaw even more. Introducing Amanda is working for him. Great twist. It keeps the same nature, suspense, and twist that the first movie did so well at. This time with a mystery element throughout the entire movie. I just love the trapped in the house storyline, solving these mysteries, only to turn out that's not what's happening right now, and that happened a long time ago. There's just twist after twist in this movie that works so well. And we get to see a lot of Jigsaw. We made him the main focus in this movie, and it sucks they killed him off in the third one. But this movie just showed us what a true franchise with Jigsaw would look like. This mind-boggling movie with great traps that are not over the top yet, that are really just testing the characters that need to be tested. Saw 2 did everything great, but 3 other movies did it better. This one's not bad. 3 other ones just did it better. Now, Saw 10 absolutely came out of nowhere and surprised everyone with how great of a film it was. This film made you sympathize with Jigsaw. That is brilliant. I love how the movie made him the main character and made you step into his shoes, because throughout the entire Saw franchise, you hate this character, while this film, all of a sudden, you sympathize with him. I find that brilliant. That is great storytelling. And you end up hating these doctors who did the surgery on him, which makes you want to see the traps happen, which makes you want to see the torture happen. Both are bad characters in here, but Jigsaw is just shown to be this main character. I also love how this movie has non-stop twists from start to finish. You learn the surgery didn't actually work, to all the way to the end of film. I loved how the movie always kept you in suspense that way, with great traps that are extremely gory. Saw 10 just did everything right, and I loved it. Now, this is the point of the franchise where the kills started becoming the main focus. The rack trap in here is by far my favorite trap in this entire franchise. It is so gruesome in the way it's told. And Saw 3 just has a lot of that throughout it, while also making you care for the main overall story. Jigsaw is dying and there's multiple traps and tests happening all at the same time, which adds this emotional layer to it because it's about Jigsaw and Amanda. This is the point in time in the franchise where we kill off Jigsaw, but we sympathize with him. We connected to him a lot more. And before Saw 10, this was the most and best we ever got of Jigsaw, was in Saw 3. We fleshed out the characters of Amanda and Jigsaw and actually cared for those characters. Along with the twist of everyone is being tested, it's not as great as the first 2 films, but it is still effective, and this is the point of the franchise where it still worked. James Wan was still a part of these films, so these first 3 movies just have a great trilogy together. Until the rest of the franchise, marking the end to a great trilogy with Jigsaw for Saw films. We need more of Jigsaw. I'm glad Saw 10 did it. Let's hope Saw 11 continues though. And like I mentioned in the intro, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. James Wan is a part of it. That's probably one of my favorite horror directors of all time. He's just so brilliant when making this movie. From the moment the movie starts, you are hooked in. You have absolutely no clue what is happening, especially when you first watch this movie. I can't imagine what it was like 25 years ago. Now this film is a lot tamer compared to the others, but that's not a bad thing because this film is very much the introduction to the Saw franchise. We are telling these stories, we're introducing this world, we're introducing who Jigsaw is, why he puts people to traps, to only end in that great finale with cutting off your leg. So iconic. Till the end of the film where it drops the best twist ever. My first time watching that, I was blown away. And that small budget only helped the film's favor even more. This started as a film that premiered at the film festival and slowly grew into one of the best horror franchises out there. One of the most iconic ones out there, even to this day. So effective, and I still love it. But anyways, if you like this video, maybe these ones on the side with you too, like, subscribe, see you guys next time. Goodbye.